support.
A constant battle.
You call me names.
You sent police to our home.
You said that they poisoned your son.
I said that she overdosed him on cough syrup.
You said she poisoned him.
But who's to blame?
We need to still be a family.
You're the reason we're not.
There have been 100 police reports, allegations of kidnapping, overdosing, brainwashing, and alienating.
And who's breaking the law?
I'm going to turn the whole bunch of you in. I'm just telling you straight up. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Well, Marla and Marty went through a bitter divorce in 2013. Marty then married Jennifer, and a shared parenting plan was eventually finalized with his ex that clearly stated neither party shall annoy, molest, interfere with, or harass the other in any manner, either directly or indirectly. Now, how do you suppose that worked out? They didn't come here because it worked out well. They did not listen. To date, the police have been called over 100 times to address alleged breaches of the parenting agreement. Now, according to Jennifer and Marty, Marla called the police one time with claims that Jennifer poisoned her 10-year-old son, David, and also accused her another time of kidnapping him. Jennifer has called 911 a few times on Marla, who she claims abused David. So who is at fault here? One thing is for sure, the child is paying the price for this parenting drama. Take a look.
Marty's ex-wife, Marla, is erratic and unstable, and she's crazy.
Marla is very controlling of my son.
Marla hates my guts, and she will do anything she can to make my life miserable.
She has turned my son against me.
Marla is constantly making up excuses why Dave can't see us, why he can't call us, why he can't visit or talk to us.
I'm not trying to keep my son from Marty and Jennifer, but they can't understand is he doesn't want to go over there. If I mention to Dave about seeing his father, he refuses and says he's not going.
When Marla doesn't let us see David, we don't play games. We go straight to the police.
We have probably filed 100 or more contempt of court charges against her, and we have spent over $40,000 in legal fees. She's mean, vindictive, and paranoid. Marla loves to use social media in a way to attack Marty and I. She calls Marty in her posts a deadbeat dad and accuses him of not paying child support. I've been called a whore. I think Marla is completely delusional. She does have mental issues.
Once I was out of town, I got a David was missing.
Marla told the police that she thought I had kidnapped David. About an hour after the police knocked on my door, they found David playing at the park.
Once David was at our home, and he had a little bit of a cough. So Jennifer gave him some cough medicine.
David was vomiting and throwing up. And at that point, we texted Marla. Marla sent the police to our home. Marla insisted that we had poisoned him with cough medicine.
The most disturbing was the time when David showed up with bruises on his body.
He was so nervous when we asked him about him. He had bruises all up and down his legs and all up and down his arms. And you can tell that they were from a handprint on his arm because you couldn't line up the hand. He said that he fell off of his scooter, but I know there is no way he got those bruises that way.
We contacted the police and Child Protective Services.
Somebody in Marla's household is responsible for it.
We're at a very critical moment. Marla's house is in foreclosure. She doesn't seem to have a plan or where David will be living. It's horrible that my son David is caught in the middle.
Okay, guys, I'm really glad you're here for reasons that might be apparent, maybe not. We'll get to that soon. But what's going on here? Why is this such a drama?
You know, it's hard. I watch my husband. He's a very hard worker. He's a very good provider, and he's a very good father. And to have these accusations, it's just ridiculous. They're not true. And, you know, my husband has been to the grocery store, had somebody spit in his face, telling him that he didn't pay his child support. He can't pick up his children alone. He's been arrested.
Why do you think this is going on? I mean, you were married to this woman for 28 years, right?
Yes.
Would you have predicted this?
Yes. She always made the threats. If we ever divorced, I'd never see my kids, and I'd die a lonely man.
How long has it been since you've seen your son?
June 2nd, after the court hearing, the last court hearing.
Marla's allegation is that you two physically abused David on Thanksgiving. So there's two sides to this. She says you guys are not safe for him to be around.
That's not true. We were watching him ride his scooter up and down our street when the police pulled in and told us that it was a welfare check and that he was very sorry that he had to disturb us on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I got problems here that I haven't even begun to get to. Marla says Jennifer is a crazy, manipulative, and interfering troublemaker. She also claims to have been harassed, stalked, and threatened by Marty and Jennifer. Take a look.
Before I confront Marty and Jennifer on stage, this is what I want Dr. Phil to know. All of the ridiculous accusations and crazy things they do to get back at me hurt David. Jennifer and Marty are out to make my life a living hell.
Paranoia and the accusations, it's exhausting.
Marty is not a good father and was a horrible husband. Jennifer has to be in the middle of everything. Marty condones all of her behavior. If he doesn't, he certainly hasn't tried to do anything to stop it. The bottom line is, I think Jennifer is a troublemaker. She needs to butt out and mind her own business. My youngest son, David, comes back from his dad's house. He says all they do is talk bad about me and his siblings and dragging me back into court for something. This is just wrong. A child shouldn't have to go through all of this. Marty has a very quick temper, and it scares me. He's threatened to kill me. Marty has even stalked me. One time I was taking a walk, and I turn around, and he's just driving behind me. Jennifer does it, too. If David and I are out taking a walk, here she comes driving around the house. Marty and Jennifer just need to leave me alone. This has got to stop.
Okay, I'm glad you're here. Do y'all live nearby each other?
Yes.
Okay, so these two are stalking you.
Yes.
I mean, but what's the purpose? What's the goal?
I have no idea. I am just trying to take care of my children, and I don't know what the deal is, but we can't do anything. I mean...
And have you caught them stalking you?
I can't even count. They've had people following me.
Dr. Phil,
Other people besides themselves?
Yes, my lawyer told me that they had been following me.
Marla, that's ridiculous.
How do they know that?
That's ridiculous.
How does your lawyer know
He
that?
said their lawyer told him, and he said it was harassment, and I said yes.
Their lawyer confessed to your lawyer
Yes.
that they had someone harassing you?
Yes.
You need to get a new lawyer.
That's what I'm thinking.
Their lawyer told your lawyer they were stalking you? Does this seem odd to you?
This whole situation is so bizarre that I can't... I contacted the show 4 years ago when this whole started because my older son Danny, who was here, was having so much trouble, and I was so worried
That's
about
not why you contacted the show.
They refused to go.
Because you wanted to come on here and talk about affairs, is what, and we did not. You were willing to air your dirty panties, is what you said in a Facebook post on your Facebook, January 2014.
I have never posted anything on my Facebook
That's a lie.
About this.
We have it.
That is
we have it here.
Then you fabricated it with all the things you made up.
I did not
with your
fabricate
stalking.
that.
For all I know, you've made up another Facebook page of me.
There.
My children and my
Really?
friends know that I don't put my personal business all over Facebook.
Okay, well, there's a blueprint. They can follow that. There's an IP address.
Let them follow it. It didn't come from anything that I made up.
Because
okay? I sent a text message to the two of you, I believe, when I said, you know, you want to badmouth me all over town and humiliate Danny to where he won't even go to school, but you won't go to Dr. Phil and air our dirty panties to find out the truth. I believe was what I said.
Yes.
Okay?
I'm sure that they probably have the whole reason that you contacted them in the first place, and it wasn't due to the children. It was because you wanted to come and talk about an affair that my husband had prior to me even meeting him. You have called me a whore.
When I filed my divorce, you were thrilled, you were joyful. He wanted to take off with the girlfriend in Florida, or was it the one in Scotland? Which is fine, I don't care.
Well, apparently you do, because you're still talking about it. There is, under no theory am I here to reconcile this relationship. I'm here for one reason, and that's this child is caught in the middle of this ridiculous crossfire between you folks, and that's troubling to me. It's really troubling to me. Now, Marty says Marla is jealous and needs to just move on. So what does Marla have to say about that? Is she jealous? We're going to find out when we come back. You said that they poisoned him.
I said that she overdosed him on cough syrup.
Is overdose better?
You sent the police to our home.
Plus, I consider this to be an urgent situation of this child being in danger. I am either going to come up with a plan that you're going to adopt, or I'm going to turn the whole bunch of you in.
Tomorrow,
I haven't had a meal in almost 4 years.
she went from 115 pounds to just 75.
What do you see there?
A disaster.
Woman terrified of food.
A grocery store for you is like going through a house of horrors.
I hate my life.
Plus, what happened to sexy vegan after Dr. Phil kicked him off stage?
Since you have
I thought I was going to get committed.
Then on Thursday,
Killed by a rock thrown off the overpass.
5 teens arrested and charged.
Did you read the statement your son had written?
It was incriminating.
What did it say?
That's Thursday.
Marla is jealous of Jennifer and myself.
She is envious of the relationship and the great life that we have together. She thinks that maybe if I had not come into the picture that they may still be together.
Did they seriously say that? No.
I think Marla has regrets about leaving me and filing for divorce.
I feel like since her divorce from Marty, she has not moved on with her life.
I was married to him for 28 years. That was long enough.
Well, that was Marla saying jealousy has nothing to do with this. Marla claims her 10-year-old son, David, does not want anything to do with her ex-husband, Marty, or his new wife, Jennifer. Marla says her son has seen and heard things that no child should ever be exposed to. But Marty and Jennifer say that Marla is delusional and has falsely accused them of brainwashing, kidnapping, poisoning, and abusing David. Now, when you say that they have abused him physically,
I haven't said that.
well, you said that they poisoned him.
I said that she overdosed him on cough syrup.
Well, you said she poisoned him.
No, never. I didn't.
Well, okay, we'll use the word overdosed him. Is that better?
That's what I said. If there are lies about
Okay,
patients,
is overdose better?
that's what I believe happened. I believe she gave him cough syrup without saying, is he allergic to this? Is it okay for him to take this? And he got sick, is what I believe happened. I don't think it was intentional, but it happened.
And what did you do?
They called me to come and get him, and he was so sick.
No, we did not call you to come
that
get
I
him.
took
You
him.
sent the police to our home when we would not take him to a basketball game because he was throwing up. You sent the police to our home.
Hold on. If you think that I'm going to sit here while you two bicker back and forth, you've got the wrong bald guy. Because, listen, you don't need me for that. I want to know the truth. And I know the truth. I have the records. I have police reports. I have binders of police reports. This is very important to me, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm a mandated reporter. A mandated reporter is a professional that is required by law, if he sees a child in a dangerous situation, is required by law to report that within 24 hours. Right now, I consider this to be an urgent, emergent situation of this child being in danger by the conduct of the three of you. So I am either going to come up with a plan that you're going to adopt, or I'm going to turn the whole bunch of you in. I'm just telling you straight up. Now, when you said that he was overdosed by her, what did you do? Did you call the police?
I believe I went to the police station because he wasn't at his game, and I didn't know what had happened. And so I went there to see if they would go see if he was all right. And then...
So you did involve the police?
That time.
Okay. Why did you not tell me that when I asked you that the first time?
I didn't say I didn't.
Did you call the police because you thought he had been kidnapped?
No. They left town with him. They were supposed to give me a notice, and they didn't.
Your son for visitation on a regular and timely basis as per the court's instruction?
No.
Why not?
Well, for one thing, he doesn't show up for all the time that he's entitled to.
Well, I'm going to ask about him. Have you
He won't.
complied with the court's orders?
No, to the best of my ability, I've tried to. When you have a child that comes home and says, Jennifer says she's getting a job to get a new lawyer so she can go after my mommy, do you think he's a kid? He doesn't need to hear that. I'm his mother.
He doesn't need to hear that.
I'm his mother. He doesn't need to listen to you talk bad about me, call me names, you know, call his siblings names. He is 10 years old.
I don't do that, Marla Kay. I do not do that. I do not do that. That's a lie.
It's all over Facebook. You call me every name in the world.
Where?
You say you post on Facebook. Well, explain this post. Well, I was going to dress up as a good tonight, but I can't find a blonde wig and a bedpan. So I guess we will just be ass blank and bitch again this year. And yes, we are talking about you.
That wasn't directed toward her.
There's somebody else you don't get along with very well?
There's a few people, yes.
Then you posted this. Seems I'm a bitch now. Oh, and I drink and party all the time. Look, here's how this is going to go. If anyone does not agree with my post or thinks this should not be aired on Facebook, I will later post a picture of my ass for you to kiss. Since this is the only way I have to communicate with these ungrateful, misguided, alienated, delusional ingrates, I will take advantage of it. Hope you're smart enough to figure out what that means. Since you're not smart enough to see through the lies, a short, dumb blonde with a severe nervous condition has fed you.
Okay, I posted that one. That was me. I posted that one. I'll agree to that one. You poke the bear so many times, it's going to bite you.
I am bad-mouthed all over to everyone.
Somebody spit in my husband's face at Kroger because you told them that he didn't pay his child support.
I don't. Well, that's interesting because I'm tied up with kids at home. I don't have a social life. I don't get to go out. I'm always home. I have maybe 2 people that'll talk to me since this divorce because it's become so toxic that nobody wants to be around it.
Well, you shouldn't be talking about it in public to everyone.
According to Marty, the police reports filed for no show at the police station 80 times. Police called for welfare checks 5 times. Police called and say they couldn't do anything 10 times. Police visits to the house 20 times. According to police reports filed at the police station 3 times. Police called for welfare checks 1 time. Police called and said they couldn't do anything 5 times. Police visits to the house 25+ times. Come on. Let me tell you something. I'm a huge supporter of law enforcement, but they're at your house because you're bickering back and forth when they actually are needed somewhere else. You said, I would let him go, I would cause him to go if he wanted to, but he doesn't want to. You said that.
Well, he's been stripped down and had the police photographed in his underwear. Say, Marla, what happened to him? He's bruised all over. Nobody touched him. He wrecked on his scooter. He came flying down the hill, hit the bump in the sidewalk. I took him to the doctor. They cleared me. Children's Services has cleared me. You've sent them to the house 3 times. The other children don't like being bad-mouthed and called names. They're adults.
That's not true, Marla.
I'm just looking for an adult somewhere in this mix. Marla and Marty's 19-year-old son, Danny, says he wants to weigh in on this situation. We'll hear where he comes down after the break.
My dad and Jennifer are compulsive liars. They're constantly bad-mouthing my mom. I told my dad I was going to come over and beat the crap out of him. My dad called the police on me. I feel like my dad has done so much wrong that he doesn't deserve to be a part of my life.
Plus,
he laid on the floor and cried. He wouldn't go to school. He wouldn't play sports. 2 years of his life, he laid on the floor and cried. Marty's #1 priority is now and has always been Marty. Marty dug his own grave when he and his new wife badmouthed me and his children all over social media. Everybody got sick of it.
I do feel like she has brainwashed the children.
I'm scared that Marla has ruined my relationship with my kids, and it may be forever.
Marty needs to realize all 6 of my children don't want to spend time with their father. He needs to man up and take responsibility for his own actions and stop letting other people control him.
Marla and Marty are at odds over their 10-year-old son, David. Now, in the 4 years since they divorced and agreed on shared parenting, there have been 100 police reports, allegations of kidnapping, overdosing, brainwashing, and alienating. Now, David isn't the only child. His older brother, Danny, remembers only too well what it was like being in this power play and says his absolute priority is to protect his younger brother from a father he claims is both verbally and physically abusive.
I don't have a relationship with my dad or Jennifer. I cut them out of my life 2.5 years ago. They're both very manipulative people. My dad and Jennifer are compulsive liars. They're constantly bad-mouthing my mom. My dad puts his new wife, Jennifer, who he's only known for 3 years before his children. My dad has alienated himself from our entire family. I feel like my dad has done so much wrong that he doesn't deserve to be a part of my life. Jennifer treats my mom with no respect. She's called my mom a slut, whore, tramp. 2 years ago, my dad was talking about my mom on social media. I told my dad I was going to come over and beat the crap out of him. My dad called the police on me because he felt threatened. The next thing I knew, the police were at my front door. They just told me I had to stop threatening him. But they did say he was a coward for calling the police on his own son. My dad just tries to embarrass me and my siblings, and it just makes him look bad. He's the one that looks like a child. My dad doesn't even seem sorry for what he's done. It's just horrible because that's my dad, and I really want to have a relationship with him, but I can't.
Thanks for being here, and I'm sorry you're dragged into all the middle of this. You say you want a relationship with your dad, but you can't. What's the barrier?
Barrier? Thing wrong. Me and all my siblings don't talk to him for a good reason. So.
And what's the good reason?
Every time I went over there, he would just badmouth my mom the whole time.
Does she know you were just at our house?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
What's your point of interjecting?
He said he hasn't been to our house for a long time, and I just want to make sure that she knew, because he told us.
What's your point?
Actually went through my visitations in a long time.
No.
Is what I'm saying.
But you didn't want a relationship with your father, yet you're trying to reestablish one here recently.
What's the point of interjecting all this right now?
I just kind of think that Danny may be playing both sides.
Well, it seems to me like you're stirring the pot up when I'm trying to have a conversation with him about his dad, and you're interjecting here.
I understand.
That just is, that's very instructive to me. Okay, so you do want a relationship with your father. What do you need from him in order for that to happen?
Well, I need him to apologize to me and all my siblings. I need him to stop talking bad about my mother. I mean, that's my mom. She's my rock.
And do you want a relationship with your son?
Yes.
Have you looked your son in the eye and apologized?
I apologize. I miss him.
You told him you apologized. Did you tell him why?
For calling your mother names, saying bad things about your mother.
He laid on the floor and cried. He wouldn't go to school. He wouldn't play sports. This kid has had more friends and girlfriends than he knew what to do with. He's active, athletic, popular. 2 years of his life, he laid on the floor and cried. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't leave him alone. I didn't know what had happened. He wouldn't tell me.
We have tried several times, Marla, to work this out between us. We need to still be a family.
You're the reason we're not.
Marla and Marty's oldest son, Sam, says his dad has 4 grandchildren who don't even know he's their grandfather because Marty has never met them. He's going to tell us why after the break. Everybody describes you the same way. Well, let me ask you something. What the hell have you been so angry about?
My ex-wife, Marla, tells people that I don't pay my child support.
I am not running around spreading lies about Marty. I have better things to do with my life.
One time Marty was at a grocery store and a complete stranger came up to him and told him what a terrible father he was for not paying his child support and spit in his face. Marla has tried to convince people in our community that Marty's just a deadbeat dad.
If people in the community think he's a deadbeat dad, it hasn't come from me.
Now, Marla and Marty's oldest son, Sam, says Marty needs to divorce Jennifer and move on if there's any chance of this family being fixed. So Sam's joining us via Polycom. Sam, what can you add to our understanding about this family dynamic?
My mom and dad were married for 28 years. Very rocky marriage to begin with. My dad was kind of had his own agenda. He works very hard, but as an emotional relationship with people, that's something he lacks with.
Do you want a relationship with him?
In a perfect world, yes.
Do you miss your dad?
Yeah, I do.
What are you willing to do to cause that to happen from your side? I'm not talking about what he needs to do, what you need to do.
And I'm willing to reach out to him, but I want to have a relationship with my father specifically. I don't want to have any contact with his wife. I have no ounce of forgiveness in my blood for her, and I never will.
Yeah. Well, never say never. Now, we received 2 statements from your daughters, Tricia and Jessica, and both of them indicated that you were verbally aggressive, had a bad temper. What do you say about that?
I agree. I agree as to what I used to be. I love my kids very much, always have. We stayed married probably 28 years too long, but we had 6 great, wonderful kids that I love very much. And I would do anything for them, and I still worry about Marla at times. I'm not a very emotional or loving person.
Everybody describes you the same way. And I'm talking about across time, not this moment, but across time. Right. What the hell have you been so angry about?
I don't really know.
Well, if you did know, what would it be?
I think just being poked and prodded into do this, do that, do this, and I've had a lot of responsibility that I know has played into the part of just come home, go to work, and I know it's no different from anybody else.
Well, but you had 6 children.
Yes.
And that takes
a lot
2
of
people.
Time. Yes.
That takes 2 people, and you know how that works, right?
Yes.
So you actively participated in having a very large family.
Yes.
And that comes with a lot of responsibility.
Yes. I've tried to take it the best way that I can and work through every situation. Sometimes I explode after being prodded.
All too often, the child's voice is drowned out by the adult chaos. But it's time to hear from 10-year-old David. We're going to do that after the break.
I feel like David has lost his innocence.
I've noticed David changing somewhat, being a lot more clingy than usual. He wants to be with me all the time.
My fear when it comes to David is that he just thinks it's because of him, that he might blame himself for what my dad has done.
My fear for David, if things don't turn around quick, is that he started getting in trouble at school last year. And then I think it's only going to escalate from here. And if we don't get some help, I feel like David is going to be lost in the cracks.
My number one concern in this family dispute is the welfare of Marla and Marty's 10-year-old son, David. Now, there's someone that I want Marty and Marla to meet. This is Sean Collison. He is a civil and family law mediator based here in Los Angeles County. And Sean completed the Harvard Law School Initiative Program on negotiations. He's worked in over 1,500 families, many of whom were dealing with child custody situations. And with the permission of Marty and Marla, I asked Sean to spend some time with 10-year-old David.
David, how you doing, man? I'm Sean.
I'm
Nice
David.
to meet you. So glad you made it today. So you like basketball, huh? That's your thing? Good, man. So you're going to about the 5th grade?
Yeah.
What's your thing to do in school?
Math.
You're a math dude? So what are some of the...
On football recess.
Basketball. That's really cool. What's your favorite thing to do with your mom?
She always takes me on walks, and we'll go to the park, and I'll play some basketball, and
nice.
while she walks around.
So mom's pretty cool. And what's your favorite thing to do with your dad?
Play catch.
Play catch? You mean with like baseball catch or with the ball?
Baseball.
Well, that's pretty cool. Is your dad is he a good ball thrower? Bam! Who's better, you or your dad?
Me.
Do you play with him all the time?
No.
How about your brothers? Do you play with them too?
Yeah.
Who's better, you or your brothers?
Basketball? I'd say I'm better than Sam, but Danny's a lot better than me.
Dan's a lot better?
Yeah, but he always takes me to do stuff.
But they teach you, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the favorite things you like to do when you're with your dad?
Basically, all I do is when I wake up, I go outside and play with my friends, and then until it's night, and then I come inside.
When you're at your mom's house, what do you do?
Play Xbox and go outside and play basketball.
So when you get older, what do you want to be? What do you want to be?
NBA player.
You want to be an NBA player? Are you going to be a defensive guard?
Yeah.
And if you make a whole lot of money, what are you going to buy everyone?
I'm gonna buy my whole family cars.
Nice. What kind of car are you going to get?
A Bentley.
Whoa.
For just business and regular occasions.
Just business and regular occasions. What about the other occasions?
For racing and going fast, a Ferrari.
Nice. Can everyone ride in your cars? Is mom, dad, can everyone get in?
Yeah.
You know, man, your parents love you a lot, man, and they say really great things about you. I met you. You're an amazing young man. I mean, your cool haircut. Hey, can I get in the Bentley?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm in the Bentley? Nice.
Sean, you've worked with 1,500 families in mediation situations, often custody. What'd you take away?
There was 2 things that stood out to me, what I heard and what I didn't hear. And I just want to share that with you guys really quickly. What I heard was on equal footing with mom. The houses were parallel. He was on equal footing. The other thing David said everybody's gonna get a car. He didn't exclude anyone. Everyone was getting a brand new car. What I didn't hear him say was I never heard him say he didn't like going to Dad's house. Dad hit him, Dad beat him, Dad held him at the house against his will. He was open.
When kids are in the crossfire like they are here, they get at risk. And you see this happen in families that are at war, right?
Yes, sir. We see that all the time.
Why do you think it's important to mediate these things instead of go to court?
What I think the most important reason to mediate these cases is because there's a lot of he said, she said. When I bring these people into mediation, the first thing I want to do is identify the elephant in the room. Dad is wearing the wrong jersey and the wrong huddle. He made that mistake, but today he owned up for it. So once we identify what's going on, we have to put down these swords and start putting the child's interests in front of ours. But today, I echo Dr. Phil, you have a plan to choose.
I'm going to tell you what you don't want to do and what you do want to do with great specificity right after the break. I'm going to appeal to your common sense here. Common sense just isn't common enough anymore. And hell, I've made a whole career out of common sense. I know a lot of 75-cent words. I just try not to use them. You know, I just try to explain things in simple terms. And you don't want to go to court. You don't want to go to court.
No.
You don't want to go to court because you are in contempt to the nth degree.
They are the ones that keep dragging. They wouldn't do mediation, but then they come here. I don't understand.
You don't want to go to court.
No.
But I need you to hear that because you have defied the court's order in a really bad way. The court said 50-50, you're to deliver this child, and you've said, well, I would send him if he wanted to go, but he doesn't want to go.
Well, they stay gone all the time. He didn't even take his Father's Day visitation. I mean,
do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
I just want this to stop.
Have you complied with the court's order?
No.
Black and white. You have not complied with the court's order. And when a judge gives an order and you defy that order, they don't like it. I'm telling you, you don't want to be in that situation.
You're right.
Thank you. I'm telling you this because I want to help you. You don't even want to get near the courthouse. And you two should unplug from social media. You don't want to be reading. You don't want to be posting.
I don't post.
You don't want to be doing that. Now look, you've been an angry guy.
Yes, I have.
And I believe that you've really made an effort to move on from that. And I believe you're truly, when I saw you talking to your son, I felt like you were really sincere. Dan, did you feel he was sincere about that?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
And let me tell you something. The most important role model in any child's life is the same-sex parent. And while you might think that you're winning a popularity contest now, the day might come when he looks back and say, why didn't I have my father around? And he could blame you for that.
I've never told him he couldn't go or... I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I know, exactly. I'm sorry. I'm just...
You so want to be right, and I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm just telling you what is. I've been doing this for 40 years. And I'm telling you that this is how it works. You don't have to do anything wrong for him to resent you later because his...
Keep trying to fade away and keep remains the same. It's goes on like sun with a surrounding terrain. We stand before the
not in his life. You need to support that relationship, and you need to become supportable. We've got to take a break here. A new parenting plan. It's called the Dr. Phil plan. We'll be right back. You really need to redouble your efforts to try to find a way to make it as easy and fluid as possible for him to be in this child's life. And you need to be as transparent as you can about your schedule.
Yes.
And if you've got this anger, resentment, you've got to get that resolved. I'm going to set you up with a professional to help you with that. And because you travel 300 days a year, I'm going to do it through Doctor On Demand. And that's a company that's ours, my son and my company. And I'm doing it through them because this is telemedicine and teletherapy where you can be on the road, you can be in a hotel, you can be anywhere and have a face-to-face appointment with a board-certified and licensed therapist, the same one every time. And so you don't have to be somewhere. They'll meet you where you are right there, and you can talk about this in the anonymity of your own home or your own car or your own hotel room or wherever you are, so you can maintain the consistency of this. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if that professional didn't, at the right time, help to work out in a life coach sort of way to help with a parenting plan that made it really smooth for everybody here in the right sort of way. And I'm going to make that same offer to anyone in this family that has felt the burden of this whole thing, because I'm about unifying families, not breaking families up. And I said I thought this was a toxic, urgent situation that I felt like I had to either change or report. And tell me that y'all are hearing me and that this situation is going to change and stop being a battlefield.
Yes.
Thank you so much, yes.
Okay, all right. If you at home want to have your own Doctor On Demand, go to Google Play Store or iTunes App Store, and you can download the Doctor On Demand app, and you can do it yourself as well. I want to thank all of my guests today, and I want to give a special thanks to family mediator Sean Collison. Thank you for your work here today. Log on to drphil.com and share your thoughts on our message boards. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Thanks, man.